Hello everybody, and welcome back to Resonance Reviews. Today we're talking about the Juzear Defiant, which is a $99 hybrid IM aimed at providing maximum priced performance to buyers, especially those who are looking to take their first steps into high fidelity audio. This is an IM that I really liked, and in fact in my full-length written review, I described it as being a gatekeeper for the sub $100 price point. I still believe that's true even a few months later, and I'd like to tell you why this is a solid IM for those of you out there who are looking to take your first steps into the higher end segments. And I know that I said that this is a $99 IM, but given that this is right around $11.11, you can actually get this on Hi-Fi Go for about $80, which is a phenomenal deal. So go ahead and watch on to learn a little bit more about why I like this IM so much. Alright, now let's talk technical specifications. The Defiant has 4 drivers per side, 3 bounce armature and 1 dynamic, and it has 3D printed resin shells. It has a 0.78mm 2-pin detachable cable that is modular and comes with a 3.5mm and 4.4mm termination in the box. It has an impedance of 32 ohms and a sensitivity of 109 decibels of SPL per milliwatt, making it relatively average. And in terms of sound, the Defiant is a relatively warm V-shaped IM, and it has a comfortable sound signature with a mildly recessed lower mid-range, marginally emphasized, bass that's a little bit, it's above the mid-range, but not by much, and an elevated treble. It possesses respectable psychoacoustic properties and delivers a clean, relatively airy and rich style through its 3-way crossover. The Defiant's sub-bass is well extended and reaches pretty far down, and its treble is also fairly extended, though it's not particularly emphasized in the upper region. Treble-bound elements are audible, but are not really the center of attention here. I have a noticeable sensitivity to treble, and as such, I am greatly appreciative of the Defiant's more relaxed upper register. It has a forward but not overly bright treble that captures detail relatively well. This treble-based competence allows it to capture shockingly complete fade-outs for hi-hats and cymbals in tracks like In One Ear by Cage the Elephant. Similarly, the treble-bound percussion in Show Me How to Live, a live recording that I have that's it remains controlled and spatially separated and intelligible throughout the duration of the performance. The Defiant strength lies in its capacity to resolve detail without overblowing the upper register, I would say. Both the lower treble and the upper treble remain well-toned and smooth, and even in harsh tracks like Satisfy, they don't become sharp or sibilant. Even congested tracks like Bittersweet Symphony have a open and airy upper segment of the track, and where many other dark-ish IMs that are kind of similar to the Defiant might sound claustrophobic, the Defiant does a pretty decent job of remaining controlled and layered. And the Defiant's mid-range is slightly recessed, relative to its bass and treble, but it doesn't really sound all that recessed. It features, a little bit of bleeding into the mid-bass and a pleasant lift into the upper mids. Dramatic and busy tracks like Dead by My Chemical Romance play well through the Defiant. Its tuning is well suited to highlighting vocals and lead instrumentation without sounding overblown or disjointing them from the soundstage. The cackling distortion of electric guitars ring out in that track alongside assertive vocals and energetic percussion, each with their respective places on the soundstage. Even the background piano and saxophone sound right at home and have plenty of intelligibility and discrete timbres. And while I would love to start another hype train, I don't think it's necessarily appropriate with the Defiant. So it's worth noting that the Defiant, while significantly better than its average peer, does miss out on micro detailing and texturing that some of its higher priced counterparts do articulate. The effect is subtle, but if you are even doing remotely critical listening, you're gonna notice, especially if you're coming from more expensive IMs in the $250, $350, $500 price point, you're gonna notice the difference. That said, I'm pretty happy that the Defiant did not mindlessly follow the hi-fi base head train that's been pervasive in the chi-fi industry recently. It dishes out a healthy, rich serving of bass, but avoids becoming dominated by it. The drums kick with authority, bass drops are full-bodied and filled out, and the Defiant sub bass is well extended, but just not as deep and rumbly as I would have expected, or that you would have gotten from a bass head IM. In terms of articulation and control, the Defiant, I would say, is about average for its price point, and it doesn't necessarily break the mold with its bass performance, but does manage to hit all of the right angles that allow it to deliver a pleasing and entertaining bass articulation. When you have challenging and diverse tracks like, the Cell Dweller remix of War Pigs, that really does illuminate the Defiant's ability to flexibly articulate bass of very different varieties of textures and tone. Now, in terms of build quality, I have the Defiant right here. It's pretty reflective with mother of pearl faceplates. It's probably not going to show up very well on the main camera, so I'll just put some pictures on screen. This has 3D printed resin shells with metal nozzles, which is great, and it has, as I mentioned earlier, 0.78mm 2-pin detachable cables. This cable is also modular, meaning you can switch between a 3.5mm and a 4.4mm termination. This is a pretty nice cable. I quite like it. It's weighty and soft, and it doesn't hold onto body very much. And it even has a threaded nut on the termination for the locking mechanism on the modular part of the cable. I quite like that. I think it's very important to make sure that it just doesn't get yanked apart and prematurely wear the pins inside. So I'm glad. I think that Juzear did a good job with that. So thank you, Juzear. Now, in terms of accessories, inside the box, you're going to get one semi-hard zipper case. That's this guy right here. You're going to get the 3.5mm and 4.4mm cable termination, one pair of foam ear tips, although they're white, and 6 pairs of silicone ear tips and a cleaning cloth. And for $99, that's not bad. You get foam ear tips, and even though they're white and they get dirty really easily, they're still comfortable and they seal well. The silicone ear tips are standard. Now, in terms of comparisons, let's talk the NF Acoust NA20. This is a single dynamic driver IM, and it's also warm and bassy and fun. And I really, really, really like the NA20. It doesn't get enough attention, but I think it's very good. And it's a warmer, and I'd say a little bit more on like the comfortable side of tuning. It's got more pronounced mid-bass than the Defiant has, and it's got a slightly less extended sub-bass. Both IEMs have tame treble, but the NF Acoust does have I would say a noticeably more firm upper treble. And the Defiant, in spite of its lower price tag, does have a more robust accessory package than the NA20 does. And in my opinion, it also does have nicer shells. It's more comfortable for me as well. And I think that the major decider between these two IEMs is going to be bass. Those who are looking for an extra helping of richness will be drawn in by the NA20's generosity. It has that extra warmth and it's blended so well into the lower mid-range. Though listeners who aren't keen on that style of warmth will probably appreciate the Defiant's lower pricing and more robust accessory package. Now let's talk the KZ ZA12. Well, the ZA12 is comparatively lacking in refinement. It does have a little bit more of a scratchy upper mid-range and treble, and the Defiant is a lot more smooth throughout. The Defiant also has significantly better shells. It's got a more robust and potent bass. It's more extended in the sub bass as well, and it rumbles in a way that the ZA12 simply doesn't. Now, does that mean that everyone's going to love the Defiant more than the ZA12? No, but I predict that most people will like the Defiant more. It's better refined upper mid-range, it's less intense spike in the treble, and it's more appealing build quality. Overall, I think are just gonna make it a better deal, even if you do have to spend a little bit more on the Defiant. And $35, it's a noticeable amount of money, but for most people, that's not gonna be breaking the bank. I think it's worth saving up that money and just going with the Defiant. Now let's talk comparisons with the Meze Alba. And you know, the Alba is another IM that is kind of a gatekeeper for me. It was the first IM I heard in 2025 that really impressed me, and it still performs well in my A/B comparisons today. That said, the $60 gap between it and the Defiant is looking kind of rough. The Alba is undoubtedly great and has meze house sound that I love with its subtle warmth and its gently V-shaped sound signature, but the Defiant implements a similar style of tuning and has better controlled mid and sub bass. Not only are they better controlled, but they're also a little bit more emphasized. The two IMs have similar mid-ranges and often trade blows when it comes to articulation. And the Defiant doesn't necessarily pull ahead when it is compared to the Alba either, but it does match it. And for those who are really seeking out performance for the lowest price, the Defiant is a clear winner here. It matches the Alba nearly blow for blow and subjectively delivers a more robust lower register in a variety of genres. That said, there is something about the infinitely smooth presentation of the Alba that I do still quite enjoy. And while it may not be a clear and definitive superior to the Defiant, I still do find myself occasionally getting lost in its silky, honey-like presentation. Additionally, I really do appreciate the improved ergonomics and build quality versus the Defiant, and I think that the Alba's included DAC is worth something and should be noted. That said, if you are really just seeking out, like I said, maximum price to performance, you're going to go with the Defiant. If you want a little bit more of extra refinement, particularly when it comes to build, I think that you'll find that shelling out the extra cash for the Alba is well worth it. Now for the conclusion. The aptly named Juzear Defiant is a very strong performer that sets the standard for what somebody can expect from a $99 IM. Its robust sound signature, strong technical performance, and great accessory package make it an appealing all-arounder that will suit a wide breadth of listeners that consume a wide breadth of music genres. I imagine that many potential buyer will agree that for those of you in its target audience, it's going to be a strong performer. Now, are you in its target audience? Allow me to clarify. Who this is for. This is for those who enjoy V-shaped sound and don't want any sharp treble. It's for buyers who demand a complete out-of-the-box experience and don't want to mess around with third-party accessories. It's for listeners that frequently switch between 3.5mm and 4.4mm sources. And it's for those who listen to a wide variety of genres and need flexible tuning. Now, for who this is not for. This is not for bass heads. This is not for those who are seeking bright or treble-dominant sound. This is not for those seeking reference sound, and this is not for those who are looking to spend the minimum possible amount, or for those who already have robust pre-existing collections. If you already have a bunch of IMs, you don't need a Defiant. It's not doing anything that other good IMs aren't doing. It's just doing them consistently and for less money than you used to have to spend. And that's it for my review of the Juzear Defiant. I hope you found this review useful, and as always, there is a full-length written review linked in the description down below. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and drop me a like and a subscription. That really helps with the channel, and I've been trying to grow it recently, and every interaction helps. If you would like me to compare the Defiant to something I didn't cover here, you can request it in the description down below. And as always, thank you very much and happy listening.